Yeah. Yeah, I think we can start the second part of the session. Thank you all. Welcome again. And the next topic we're going to look at is sibling rivalry. Is it negligible? I invite Mr. Nandajan to address this topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you once again, giving me an opportunity.
Pleasure,
A
sir.
while ago, Deepti was giving a candid account on single child, and she mentioned everything depends on we parents. How do we bring children? I agree with that. There is a saying: when a child is born, it is a tabula rasa. Tabula rasa means clean slate.
So your
And
voice is
everything is
breaking.
written on.
Excuse me, sir. Your voice is breaking, sir. Could you please
Hello.
adjust your microphone? Yeah, your
Yeah.
voice is
Hello.
breaking, sir. We can't hear you properly. Could you please adjust your microphone? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Just check even now.
Now
Am I
it's
audible?
better. Now it's better. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Perhaps maybe of network issue also.
Yeah,
I was
maybe, sir.
telling that what Dipti, I am endorsing what Dipti Anup just mentioned about her candid account on her journey of motherhood or parenthood. Because she was mentioning whatever the child becoming is based on parenting. So there is a saying: when a child is born, it is a tabula rasa, that is a clean slate. And we, the society, we parents writes on everything, or the whatever we give the experience to the child, and that becomes the behavior of that child. Okay, when one child is there, it's a single child issue. Now, if it is more than one, what happens? And I again like to quote from Deepti Anup itself. Deepti was telling that when she was an elder child, and even at this age, when a mother, she says her mother has got more penchant or more inclination towards her brother. She said it's okay. She's agreeing to that. But even now, when somebody says so, it gives some unhealed wounds, emotional wounds inside us. It reveals some unhealed emotional wounds. And this gave rise to the sibling rivalry. When it moved to the extreme, what will happen when parents give more importance, more affection, more attention to one child? The other child will get a feeling that I am unwanted. If it becomes to the extreme, that child may take two Can you unmute the other? Okay. Sorry, mute the other audience, if possible, if it is possible. Okay. If that unwanted feeling inculcated in the child, it can take two paths, two different paths. One is the aggression, the other one is withdrawal. Aggression means this child will start quarreling with all other, wherever he or she goes, in whatever the social circle, they will grab attention by this quarreling or by raising voice. Because in the childhood, they were listened or they were heard when they made noises. On the other hand, they may withdraw from the social circle. Both are bad. And how does it happen? No parent will deliberately inculcate such a feeling into the children. But it happens. For example, yeah, Julie ma'am, she's sitting there with daughter on her lap. If there is an younger one, what will happen? The younger one will reach to the mom and the younger one will say, hey, me, there. Then what we will do? We will take away the elder and we will took the younger one on our lap. Such privileges
This is the younger one, sir.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Okay, then I was not telling about your case. Just for an example, I just mentioned. If there is an
Actually, he's the younger one.
pardon?
The one on the lap was a younger daughter.
Yeah, I know. The other one, the boy, I know. Okay, but what I was telling, an hypothetical situation, had there another younger one, this would have been a different case. That's all. Okay. So each and every case, we are not giving deliberately such signals, but it goes. Then what can be done? See, if you have a delicious dish in your delicious cake you received today, and there are two children, what will you do? You will divide exactly equal. Am I right? If you have $50 million in your bank balance and you want to divide among your children, what will you do? Between two, 25, equally. But do you think love can be done like that? Or if you have two children, do you think that love is divided? Love is not a tangible good. You can give fullest love for both. Don't love equally, love uniquely. I repeat, don't love equally, love uniquely. Uniquely means I love you the way you are. The way you are, with all your plus and minus. And the sibling rivalry starts when you start comparing. When you say, just look on your brother, how much mark did he score? And why are you not able to do that? The moment you start comparing like this will give feed to the sibling rivalry. When you love them uniquely the way, everybody is not good at scoring marks. Everybody is not good at singing. Everybody is not good at sports. Every individual has their own place. Respect it, accept it. Don't try to compare between your children. Whenever you receive a guest in your house, you used to say, the elder one is smart. The younger one is a bit shy, or the vice versa. On hearing this, what could be the thought process of that simple little children? Oh, the elder one is smart. I am not smart. My mom consider I am not smart. So this gives lot of pain, lot of emotional wounds. So in that case, it is not equal love. It's not equal sharing. Love uniquely. I try to identify the individuality of each children and accept it, love it the way they are. Then the child will get a feeling that to get the parents' love, I need not change myself to my sister or my brother or somebody else. They are loving me the way I am. When they get that feeling, we can, to a certain extent, calm down sibling rivalry. Sibling rivalry is a reality. Don't think that it can be taken away 100%, but moderately we can do on that. And we ourselves should not fuel the fire. Just like when two children are quarreling, two children, yeah, the parents will take part one of the five. No, most probably the younger one will get that benefit. My younger one used to cry whenever there is a quarrel. When we go and try to solve that one, the younger one will start crying. He knew that when he started crying, he will get. Of late, I used to tell him, Monet, don't cry. If you are crying, I will not listen to you. You tell me the fact. Then he stopped crying in that way. So it works like that. So if you have more than one child, love them uniquely. I am sure we can give love fullest for all, because love is not a tangible good which can be divided. Everybody will get equal share or their own share. Okay, that is more important. Let them get their own share. Let them get their own attention, what they want. Otherwise, this unhealed emotional wounds will have an impact throughout our entire life. Over to you, moderator.
Well said, sir. Thank you very much. Parents, he says, don't love equally, love uniquely. Very nicely said, sir. Thank you very much. Friends, I have again pleasure in introducing Mrs. Padmini Hebar, the principal of Instrumentation Nursery School, Palakkad. She's a wonder woman who amazes me with the people skills. She will represent those many super moms we have all known in our families. Married at 15 into a joint family, went for further education, mothered two amazing children, and now busy doing a bit for grandchildren, heading a school and community services. Despite all these, she's still grounded. She'll give us some tips to meet that amazing parent. Over to Mrs. Hebar. Over to you, ma'am. Waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Joyce.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, all. It's indeed a proud privilege for me to be in the midst of this August panel. Thank you, Joyce Nandakumar, for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, ma'am.
Happy to represent the super moms. I know that many super moms have logged in today. There is no magic wand which makes a super mom. Each child is different. You have to use different tactics. Here, more than your mind, the instinct works. I am always thankful to my mother and my mother-in-law, from whom I learned a lot. Both of them had 7 children each, but none of us felt neglected. They had the time, patience, and care always. With their blessings, I brought up two wonderful children. It gives me immense pleasure to see the relationship between my children and my grandchildren. They're like friends and they share so much confidence and love with each other. They discuss anything and everything under the sun. That makes me feel proud that I feel I have brought up my children well. So that's why they could bring up their children well. So here I have few tips. It's my experience. I don't know, here in the panel, there are such people who are with so much knowledge, and this is just a mother's tips. Listen to your child, however busy you are. Don't shoo them away. If you're busy doing something, hey, go off, I'll see to you after some time. No, tell them, I'll be there in a second, honey. Or if you can stop your work and attend to them, you will gain their confidence and they'll be so happy. Always pick the good qualities of a child and praise them and not focus on their weakness. That gives them self-esteem and motivation to do better. When a younger child is born, try and make that elder child does not feel replaced or sidelined by praising the older child profusely at that time. As the baby won't know anything, you keep on praising the elder child. So the child feels, he is very important, and he doesn't, rivalry, sibling rivalry will not be there. This is my personal experience. I have done the same thing with my children. When my daughter was born, my son is, I did the same thing, and my son is so protective towards his sister, and my daughter always looks up at her brother, who is her role model even now. For the young parents, take it easy on yourselves. Only if you feel good, you can give quality time for the child. Parents' weakness of getting all their desires fulfilled through their children can be stressful for a child. I couldn't be a topper, so I want my child to be. I couldn't play this instrument, so you should play that. No, that won't work. The child should do what he or she wants to do. We shouldn't force upon anything onto them. Parents' interference with the teacher's way and means can only get worse with online teaching. Gone are the days when we asked, are you smart? Now we ask, how are you smart? Because we can be smart in so many different ways. Ultimately, who come up in life are the ones who show good emotional quotient. Don't compare your children with others. This is what even doctor said. Each one of us is different. So are our children. So we cannot compare. See, that one is doing so good. Why are you writing like this? No. If he is good in something, your child is good in something else. So don't ever compare. Even with the siblings, you don't compare. So as the education policy says, let us be light and what tight. We may not be able to prepare the future of our children, but we can certainly prepare our children for the future. I would like to share this experience with you all. When my son told us that he aspires to be an actor, my husband and I were taken aback, as we were worried about his unconventional choice of career. But we soon realized that we should let him pursue his dreams, as it is that which would make him truly happy. With God's grace and hard work, he has come up in his life, and we could not have been prouder and happier. As parents, allow your children to pursue their dreams and fly high. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really nice. Listen to your child. Very well said, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you.
Welcome. And yes, the last but not the least is, when is the right time to introduce reading to a child? I invite Mrs. Devi Janardhanan. Mrs. Devi Janardhanan has a B.Ed and MPhil degree in English literature and has worked as senior teacher at Vyasa Vidya Peedam, assistant professor at Nirmala College, and conducts teachers training workshops. Her interests include latest developments in education and a passion for reading. She's back from Australia, where a time spent with her granddaughter is unforgettable. She'll give us tips on, is there a right time to introduce reading to children? Over to you, Mrs. Devi Janardhanan.
Thank you so much, Joyce.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, and also for giving me a chance to take part in this. Such wonderful news, and also to talk on a subject which is very close to my heart, and that is reading. So I'm going to talk on how to interest your child in books. Okay, and so when do we start? This is the first thing. When do we start? So as early as possible. So, when they are very small, in fact, even before the age of 1, introduce them to books along with their toys, make sure the books have pictures and they're vividly colored. And of course, pages should be thick because you don't really want them to tear the book. And also it should be easy to clean because you can expect quite a bit of drool. But the idea behind that is to get the child to be as comfortable with books as he is with his toys. So when you come to toddlers, around 1.5, 2 years, they're very active, they're bubbly, they really don't want to sit down. So you keep the book sessions as short, but as fun-filled as possible. Okay? Do not ever tell the child, this is your time to read, and come sit down. Don't ever do that. If you do that, he will be off reading for life. So take it easy, make reading a pleasure time, something that he loves doing with his father or his mother. Then, what are the books that you start with? As I told you, picture books, of course. And nowadays you have pop-up books and books with touch and feel books. Animal books are a wonderful way to start because all children love animals. But frankly, any subject is good enough because children at that age are so curious. And actually a lot of learning takes place. I didn't go into the why of reading because I think all parents know why reading is important. But apart from the actual images or what is conveyed on the page, you will find that a lot of other things, get imbibed. For example, numbers, colors, plural, tense, opposites, or even the concept of space and time. The list is endless. And never underestimate your child. Your little one will soon be able to, identify the maps of different countries or even different types of snakes before he or she can even read. So just open that, window to the world, to the wide world outside by, getting them to read. And parents, do make time to read with your child. Very often, young mothers and fathers, especially if mothers are working also, they would say, we don't have time. But believe me, this is a great investment in your child's future, something that you must make. Open this world of books, this wonderful world of books to him. Encourage your child to have his own library, right? And when you start reading, like the doctor said, appreciate positive behavior. And make sure you write his name or her name on the fly leaf and say, okay, Varun, this is your book. Keep saying that. This is your book. You have to look after it. Don't allow anyone to spoil it or throw it. Take care of it. And praise him when he keeps his book carefully. In fact, after each reading session, make sure, come along, let's go keep the book safely, so that he realizes that books are precious and they have to be cared for and looked after. Right? Then, so how you read, I think that is so important. Not just what are the books that you give your child, but how you read to him. That will determine whether he really gets interested in reading. As Joyce said, I was in Australia with my little granddaughter, who's just 2. And by the time I left, she loves books. She's got her own library and she's just past 2, but she's so proud of her books and she spends so much time just looking through books. So it's something that can be done. Please do it. Now, how you read, that is the most important thing. It depends on what your purpose. If you're reading a bedtime story, then a gentle monotone will make sure that, the child goes to sleep. But otherwise, do infuse passion and excitement and emotion into your reading so that a sense of wonder builds up in your child. I think we do have time. I'll give you a small example.
Yeah,
this is
go
for
ahead.
A very small child. So this is how you would read to a very small child. Oh no, poor little mouse is crying. And why is this mouse crying? It's really sad. What do you think happened? Oh no, the little mouse doesn't have a friend. Oh dear. But suddenly, thump, thump, thump. Is that an elephant? Now, if you read to your child like that, you could be sure that you'll have two round eyes looking at you with a sense of wonder. So you inculcate a kind of adventure, a sense of adventure in the child. And a few tips. Repeat the books, repeat them so that the child can grasp the ideas, and soon you will find that the child already knows what is on every page of the book, and you don't really need to read. He or she does not even really know how to read, but she will soon be reading the page, reading it, saying, okay, this is happening. Oh no, and this is happening, and the squirrel has gone up the tree. So in no time at all, this child feels that she's in a magical world of books. And one last one last tip, if you will. Never, ever tell your child, don't waste time reading storybooks. I find parents do that and they go to a lot of effort to find what they think are educational books. Don't do that. Education happens by itself. Just the child is never wasting his time reading storybooks. He's just, enlarging his creativity and his imagination and in fact his personality. So do allow him to read books. And I think it would be wise for older children to set a time saying, okay, this is your time to read a book. This is your time to study. This is your time to play. So that, when children do get into reading books, you will find that very often they don't want to do anything else. They only want to read. So this, I think, would be a good way to make sure that reading does take place, but the child does not miss out on his studies or any other activities. So I hope these tips will help you to, open out this wide world of books to your children. And once again, thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. Welcome.
Happy reading, parents and children. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was very wonderful. How I only wish our children take to books than the gadgets. So now the floor is open for question answers. Anybody has a question, can please raise your hand and you can pose a question to any of our speakers. Anyone? Yeah, I think Mrs. Vani has a question. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. Please unmute, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute. We can't hear you.
Thank you, Joyce, for giving me the chance to speak.
Pleasure, ma'am. Pleasure.
I don't have any doubts, any questions. What Dr. Nandanji has said, love cannot be shared. Each child is unique. It has to be given as how they deserve it, depending upon their qualities. All the speakers said so well, both Devi, Padmini, of course, Archana, all valuable informations for all mothers and grandmothers. Of course, Deepthi also about the single child syndrome. As she said, she even now feels she feels that mother loves her younger brother better than, more than her.
Yeah.
That this is in everybody's mind, in fact. This cannot be, this is the inborn culture in everyone.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Joyce. Everybody
Thank
has
you,
given very valuable information
yes.
on child rearing. Thank you so much.
Well, welcome, ma'am. It's a pleasure. Anyone else? We are running out of time. We just have about 9 minutes. Any other questions? Yes.
If I could just ask for the opinion of our resource people, it's not exactly a question,
Sure,
but
ma'am.
quite often, as Archana said, there is the genetic factor, there is the environmental factor. But quite often, even when both these factors are the same, we bring up our children in the same manner, environmental factors are the same, but children turn out to be quite different from one another. So there should be something more to it, right? Sometimes things can go out of our control. So what is it that turns a child into what he or she is ultimately? There is something that goes beyond parental control. I think we'll have to keep that in mind and bear with the truth also.
That's true.
Actually, you're right. Actually, this genetics, what we talk about is genetics, is something which is, it's a mystery because it's not something, we can't trace it back. We can't trace certain things to immediate parents or beyond that. And then what about in our Hindu beliefs or, you know, so many other religions also believe the karmic imprints that we carry. Right, whatever, where do our tendencies come from? Can we answer that? I mean, you know, can those be decoded? So why we feel inclined? Where do our gifts come from? So, like you said, Malini, that it is, it's a combination. And no parent can ever bring up the child in the same manner because those factors are so dynamic. They change. Like we have not given the same upbringing to each of our children. Maybe the values are the same, but we've also adapted as they are. You know, we've reacted. Like in my case, my son started being very assertive when he was very small, and I learned to deal with that. That okay, this is a trait, and now I can't just he made me a better parent from the way he would respond. And since I also have a single child, I cannot compare and say how I would have responded in another case. But I think children draw out responses from parents and different responses, and that shapes them. So there's that mystery always there of elements which, and then other factors which have impacted the child. So like you said, some things we just accept. Sometimes things don't even go the way we would like it, but then that's where we bow down to other factors.
Thank you, Archana.
Shall I add to the
Yes,
Malini?
please. Sure.
When Malini was
Others,
mentioning
please mute.
both,
Others, please mute
both
your microphone.
hereditary and the environment are same for the child, it is not so. Even though for the same parents, if you trace out the hereditary factors, one is towards the motherland, the other one is further, and what features from which branch come to this child, it differs. So we cannot say the children of same family have got the same hereditary or the same genetical program. In the environment also, suppose you give a good dish for the two children conceive and perceive it in a different way. There are chances. So the experience of two children are different in the same situation. And this experience with that hereditary factor is very less. It's around below 10% or so. Maximum on the environmental factors. Hereditary factors are relevant in case of our ability, aptitude, like ability for singing, ability for drawing, the body structure, color of complexion of the skin, hair color, etc. are the hereditary factors. But the behavior comes through the environmental thing. So the same situation can be a different experience for 2 or 3 children. So each and every experiences are different, and each and every hereditary or genetical codes are different. So each child is unique, even though they are in the same family. So natural. That's natural. That's why they behave differently.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think this calls for another series. I think the speaker should be ready for part 2, I suppose. Anyway, as we come to the end of the series, I would just like to conclude. Babies are born with around 100 billion brain cells, neurons, with relatively little connections. These connections create thoughts, drive actions, shape personalities, and basically determine who we are. They are created, strengthened, and sculpted through experiences across our lives. Give your child negative experiences, they won't have the kind of development necessary for them to thrive. Give your child positive experiences, they will have the ability to experience positive experiences themselves and offer them to others. On this positive note, I would like to thank the wonderful panelists and the audience for being with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
for
so
this
much.
nice opportunity. Thank you.
It becomes a pleasure,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you. I
you
hope
so
all of
much,
you
Joyce.
enjoyed.
Joyce, just a word
Yeah.
of thank you from me.
Yeah,
For me, it has
yeah,
been an
doctor.
amalgamation of family because
Okay.
of Akka, Padmini Hebbar,
Okay.
Toastmasters family,
Okay,
and
ma'am.
also Innerville family.
Okay.
So it is like Triveni Sangama for me coming
Okay.
to this particular
Oh,
webinar. Thank you very much.
okay.
I have
Actually,
immensely
Padmini
gained
ma'am was
from it.
telling me yesterday, my sister can put things in a beautiful perspective. I think you just did that. Thank you.
No,
Thank
no,
you
I
very
have
much.
benefited a lot from all the resource people.
Okay.
It was truly edifying to listen to each one of them. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome, ma'am.
So,
Thank you.
excuse me, Nandajan sir, Mrs. Malini Hebbar is the DTM.
Oh, fine. Then why don't you join here in our Toastmasters?
Yeah,
Balagaram?
DTM
You are
Malini
welcome.
Hebbar, this is area director.
At the same I
Nandajan
am-
sir is an area director.
Okay. Nice to know that.
Please do drop in our club meeting. Srigala, you gave the link for her.
Yeah, I will do, sir.
Yes.
You are welcome.
Surely.
I will do, sir. Yeah.
Surely, it will be a great pleasure. I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I shall do,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Deepti.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great
Yeah.
listening
Thank
to
you,
all.
Joyce. Yes.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very nice. Loved the session, Joyce.
All of you spoke so well. All of you spoke
Archana,
well.
glad to see you.
Same here, Nandajan.
Thanks for
We
It's a
sparing
spoke
time.
lovely
so
evening.
often,
Thank
Archana.
you all so much for being with us. And thank you once again, Joyce. for
Welcome,
organizing
ma'am.
this.
Yeah,
Great,
very interesting. It was very
Yes,
interesting.
thank you so much,
Thank you.
Joyce. It was
Bye.
wonderful being in this panel.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you,
Everyone's
friends.
views were so enlightening.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think we will meet you maybe in the next series. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for being
Bye-bye.
here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Padmini,
Bye.
Archana, Joyce.
Bye, Vani ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Srikala.
you.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Joyce.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Vani.
Bye,
Bye,
Sri.
see you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
family, for being here. There are
Yeah.
so many of
Archan.
my
Thank you,
family people
Archana,
are
ma'am.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I was
Archana.
here. I was expecting something from Archan. From Archana
I
Kamath.
did.
I was
I
expecting
actually
her to say
raised my
something.
hand, but
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry, ma'am. I
yeah,
didn't.
actually
Please,
did,
ma'am,
but
go
then
ahead.
no, since there was no time, I put the hand down
Yeah,
again.
ma'am. Zoom doesn't allow me to proceed further,
I
ma'am.
know, I
There's
understand.
a, maybe
In fact,
next
I didn't
series,
raise
ma'am.
my hand.
I'll
Joyce
put you
asked me
there.
to say something.
Oh.
It was just a simple observation, you know, about each child being unique.
I don't expect.
But all
Archana, there is 1 minute.
Yeah,
You
right,
can
right.
say
Yeah,
We would
something.
like to hear Archana speaking.
Please say,
Yeah,
please say.
I was actually saying that, you know, each child is unique in his own way, and at times, in spite of your best efforts to get them interested in reading, one probably turns out to love reading while the other turns out to like something else. But then I noticed that they would also find their happiness and their information in what it is they're interested in, maybe not necessarily from books.
Yes.
Because with me, as Archana knows, my two children, they're very different. One likes reading and one loves gadgets and the TV, but he gets his information from there. He's very well informed as well.
Okay.
You know, so
Yes.
initially I used to feel a little bad as to why both of them didn't develop this love for reading.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I came to terms with it. I mean, thanks
Yes.
to you, Archu, also. I came to terms with it, you know. And
Yes, exactly. We appreciate the uniqueness, right? It doesn't have to be same qualities. Yeah.
Yes.